Good morning. Well, yesterday was we got the video, what I called a ping pong day, and we've seen multiples of those recently. What's a ping pong day? It's a day that prices are just banging back and forth between pivot highs and lows and not making any decisive moves. Um, so it was kind of a boring day, waiting for things to potentially unfold, which they didn't in any meaningful way. And maybe we're going to have some more of that today since we're still waiting. Well, there's a JOLTS report. It's called a JOLTS job openings report at 10 o'clock. Maybe they'll have somewhat of an influence since tomorrow was the Fed day and everybody's on the edge of their seats waiting to see what the announcement will be. Consensus believes it will be nothing, but maybe we'll get a surprise. Who knows? Technically, price is just sitting there on that support level. You can see looking to the left, minor support, that congestion there. There was the bounce, and yesterday went nowhere. Hourly chart. You've got multiple pivot highs, multiple pivot lows. In other words, that's just called a trading range, bouncing back and forth off of those pivots. So today we're in the middle of the range. Can we get above? Can we get below? Or are we just going to be sitting here watching the grass grow? We'll have to see together and entertain ourselves in the green room, maybe with Dan's got some new jokes to share with us, which is always interesting. As you can see right now, the futures are just marking time again, um, up a little bit, but meaningless as far as any move here. Looking at tech, more meaningless moves as prices chop back and forth in a trading range. And we just have to wait and see which way things are going to go. Uh, got this measured move, which I explained yesterday what that is. It came down here. If you put a 100 MA, you'll see the 100 MA lines up here, same as the 20 MA on the weekly time frame. That was aligned with this support area. The price is stabilized. And now if they can get above these highs, the same as yesterday, maybe we can get a movement up toward the 50 MA. And I also mentioned it was yesterday or another day that while I have my moving average here on the futures, primarily you want to utilize subjective reference points like moving averages based on an index itself that the majority are following. So you set an alert on QQQ or the NDX where that 50 MA is. You look to the left to see if the 50 MA is aligned with anything, and you can see there's a little minor support there that poke low that prices had stalled at that point when they came down to those pivots and they couldn't rally, um, turn back down to the next support in the unfilled gap down there and the 20 and so on. So here we are chopping back and forth, going nowhere. And as I look at this, not really a classic bear type of a flag. It's really, more of a trading range. But look, if it breaks below here, theoretically, it's going to come lower. And maybe times, it goes down there and even breaks the low and then forms a reversal. And unless some, shocking news comes out, I think in tech, which led the way down, the downside should be limited. And if the Fed should, by some stroke, come out and decide that they've gotten enough information to lower interest rates, this could, I mean, I think I'd be tempted to just place a market order, a market buy order, and see, because you just might move so fast, but, we'll deal with that at the time as it unfolds. Um, IWM, we'll start with the ETF here. Just marking time, going sideways. This is a price pattern we see a lot of in the catch-up trades, things that underperformed, where they made this significant move, which, increased the breadth and created that sell signal up here, near the high. But most of these instruments that made this big move so far, they're just holding on to their gain, consolidating, and that's bullish. We'll see how it unfolds. Transports had the same big move, pull back to support, just chopping back and forth here, marking time. It's the Dow. Let's take a peek at the Dow, because that had a significant move, one of those significant moves, and outperformed all of the underperformers. It was totally underperforming for the longest time, and then money rotated into that and accelerated higher, and now everyone is awaiting to see what's going to happen with the news. And you can see the weekly chart, topping tail, bottoming tail, sideways. And so as we look at all this, we see things aren't going much of anywhere. It gets boring. It is what it is. It'll change. We have to not become complacent and stick to what we call the factory work. Semiconductors, also down to this major support area, not doing anything. They certainly looked like they were going to do something yesterday, as they cleared these pivot highs and started moving up. And then it just, disappointment led to more disappointment, and it broke down. And then, as you can see, just went into like a coma for the rest of the day. I'll just take a peek at these futures, but it's going to be more of the same of just chopping sideways. Let's get to SPX. I got to look at SPY. And, I always put the cursor there so everyone can see where prices are related to the daily chart and the 60-minute chart. And they're going nowhere. So the more time they spend here going nowhere, disregarding the news for this time, the more it begins to grow that it can move lower. Thinking being, this, if you want to call it oversold based on your indicator-based methodology, if you just want to look at it as being extended and there's a probability of a bounce, the more time it spends not bouncing, the more those that want to take a stab at a bounce, either as a swing or intraday, get tired, and then when it breaks a prior bar's low, it heads lower. And it's just the mechanics or the psychology of the pattern. And the weekly chart here, being in an uptrend on the spiders, would be reasonable for it to come lower, which would form really I would say pretty much an ideal kind of a buy setup within an uptrend at that support level in the rising 20. So we're in monitoring mode. Well, let me do SPX first. I'll double check that. Most things are just doing a lot of nothing. So we know this is about here, and we're back to the current prices being in between the strikes. And things get tighter, the strikes begin to get tighter together, increasing the possibility of striking one of them during the day. So, take it a little slow first thing in the morning, see which way things might go, and then these strikes might move a little bit. But the best opportunities are when, you get a pretty decent move overnight coming into the open, and then those option strikes really get jacked up in premium and you get so far away. So this is at resistance, not quite a gap fill, but at the bottom of that range. You can see the cursor on the hourly. It's not a great resistance area because it's a minor resistance area. And you see the cursor on the hourly chart there. If it cleared those pivots, I think it would be more likely to go up into that area. Yet to be seen. Down below here, it's on support. You got those pivots, but it's relatively close, which means that makes it, not a far run to strike any of those. So I wouldn't call either one of them a no-brainer. Gold's up here a little bit, marking time, doing a lot of nothing. Silver looked like it was going to go up, broke down. It's in a trading range. Where's my Bitcoin? Just a bigger trading range. Times like this, if you're not more active or involved in intraday, it certainly can become, point where you just get so frustrated. It's like you stop paying attention. And I share that because I've been there, done that, and then you miss the opportunity. So, this is our profession, and we have to continue to monitor, as boring as things might be, um, and we just keep at it so we don't miss at the opportunity when it unfolds for us. And the news is coming. Lots of news this week. Tremendous amount. I don't think much of anything is really, this may continue to go down. Crude oil is down a little bit this morning. I mean, if that was spiking up, but it's moving down. However, that's not having the usual positive influence that it could on airlines, which may be a reflection of the consumer continuing to contract from their spending. So, yeah, so we'll try to make the best out of today as we wait for these big earnings reports and news tomorrow. So stay tuned. A little early here, but all yours, Dan. There's much going on to really talk about to make it more interesting.
Well, my default is always talking about Sam. You should try it.
I
Oh,
can show them real quick. No, you didn't miss anything because there's nothing of significance to tell you about the internals. They haven't reached any extreme yet, so they're just neutral. Go, but
all right.
Roberto's.
All right. Ton of earnings here. Let's just go right to that. Maybe it's buying. I don't know if it's this earnings, but it's a nice bottoming pattern. Oh, 1024 now. Well, it could be 7, 8, 9, 10. It could be today. Does anyone know? That's a beautiful bottoming pattern. It's exactly what we want to see. So I got that on my other computer. I guess had Goldman alarm go off for some reason. We have a put spread, but I don't see anything going on. The Berg alarm. I see one print up here. Another bottoming pattern, not like over yesterday's high. XLRE alarm, but that was yesterday. We did a third lot on that. Raul wants to short Sierra Echo. The only problem with this is it's following a Climo and it's near support. And the 15-minute chart is down on support. So no, I would not short yesterday's low at all. All right, those are the alarms. Let's go up here to earnings, ton of them. These were leftover watch items. Look at MXL. Look at that Climo. A little different type of Climo because of the gap that was on earnings. I'll set an alarm here, 1382. And I already checked puts and there's nothing. All right, these are leftover. Let me go right to earnings. 401. I'm assuming this is earnings. SYM 1118. I don't even know. Symbiotic. I don't know if that's earnings or not, but it's getting whacked. Look at that. I don't even see it on the weekly charts. That's a SPAC. Look, that is 100% footprint of a SPAC going sideways at $10 and then explodes. All right, thanks. Agco It's an ugly gap, prior low, we'll come back. ECL. I have an alarm up here if it comes back. It's a closing breakout, bullish weekly, monthly. EXP, gap's too big, but bullish all time frames. Watching on the pullback. Warning, 3960, ugly gap. Looks lower, but no pattern. Actual bearish gap. Wow, that's a big old gap. So, it's the middle of no man's land. Maybe a condor. Maho. Hey Don, are you here? Look, I got a print up here at 180. Where my print is here. This is a gap and crack. If it opens up here, 30-minute low. See, up a lot, far from the 20. Now you want to gap up 15%. So it's bullish, but a gap and crap is short-term exhaustion. Neog, nothing. 24, that's getting whacked pretty bad. We'll come back to it. Now, had this opened flat, this would be a continuation pattern. 507, gap's too big. 102. Now, this could be a short-term gap and crap just for a day trade, but look at this monster 2-day 15-minute base, and that was into earnings. So they were confident. Look, that's a bottoming pattern on the monthly. Now, I would say that it's a long on a pullback, but being up here at 102, it could take 2 to 3 weeks. And I have no interest in monitoring something for that long. Yeah, I said Maho. Maho. Alex, no response to that. Is if it's gapping up to 180, is a gap and crap candidate. This is another beautiful bottoming pattern, 74.70. Now see, this one I like on a pullback because it has a lot, it still has room. This is a bullish, higher low. Well, it's just because it's excessive, Roberto. Excessive gap. And you're right. I have no idea. Greg has a 7-step process, trading gaps for expediency. I have a 2-step. It's the gap interests me. Put it on a 5-minute chart. Let's see what it does in the opening session. This one I posted pre-market. I like a lot. It did gap up. Now it's filling the gap. This would be an ideal 30-minute high trade. Let me put that in a window. Had this open flat, I would be all over this for a directional long. Look, daily, weekly, monthly, look fantastic. But homie ain't buying something gapping up $35. That's over 10%. But that is beautiful, beautiful multiple time frame alignment right there. Same with this. Had it open flat, I would have had a directional long bias. This one, nothing. Seco call spread candidate. Hub. I got nothing here. We'll come back. That's a monster gap, but it's excessive. You're gone. Inside, you're too far from the 20. IT, no print. JetBlue, gap into the top of yesterday's bar. this thing I've been trading him since he became an IPO. And he just never has any juice for a put spread, but that would be a put spread watch. All right, this is a breakout, gapping up. That's 30-minute high idea. Pfizer we had as a core long idea, but I never pulled the trigger. I was waiting for a pullback. I remember this so clearly. It gapped up, it churned up. I even posted it. We're gonna buy a pullback. And there you have it. Didn't care what I wanted. Wow, PG getting taken to the woodshed. Putting that in a window. See if buyer. So that 30-minute high would be a put spread idea for Friday. PSX, I have an alarm at 142. Beautiful bottoming pattern. I can't tell where it's gapping, but beautiful bottoming pattern. PayPal. There's no entry right here. It's too big. But I actually had this on my core long list for like a year, and it disappointed so many times. Maybe maybe this is the start of a real bottom. We'll see. 149 gap is too big. Argent 73 gapping under that. This would have been a buy setup if it created yesterday's high. I mean, I don't trust it. There's only one print here, so we'll come back to it. The same bet, gapped up, pulled in pre-market. Well, it's still at 157 though. Wow. Wow, that's a big gap. So that's a put spread idea. LDOS. Sophie, 30-minute high idea. Gapping over these red bars. 757. Gap's not excessive, but it's gapping a resistance here. So ideally, 30-minute high. First target $8. No prints. I have an alarm up here, I think. This will be a downside shakeout, breakout. No, there's my buy on the bottoming pattern I got in a window. That's a monster bullish gap, but too big for me. But look at that bullish 15-minute pre-market. There it is, not retracing. That is strong, strong, strong. So that's one I have zero interest in shorting as of now, even though it's a big gap. This I like, flowers. I liked it better here at 51.40. Gapping over these tails. Now it's gapping up to 52, so I don't like it as much anymore. LDOS, that's a duplicate. That's a bearish gap down. So no interest. Amcur gapping down. Call spread idea on an intraday sell setup. That's another monster gap. Gapping at 200. Look at this, gapping up here. Let's see, when we sell credit spreads into earnings, this is what you do not want to see. That's a monster gap. 1435, gap's too big. A couple of semis here getting whacked. That's a big bearish gap. We'll come back to it. Rambus, bearish. Sanmina, $71, bearish. SPX, there's no entry here. I don't see any prints. ST, I don't see any prints. All right, those are all my earnings. It's not all of them, obviously. I went through I went through and deleted a bunch already. So if you have any others you want me to look at, fire away. Look at this crowd. I've been watching this since this gap down. And I said yesterday morning when it started out strong, see right here, I said, let's see how it closes. I said, this might be the turn day. Let's see. So many things gave it up yesterday. Looks horrible. I mean, I said it has room to fall. I mean, this weekly, it could go to 200, 220. I have no idea, none. Buyers have to step up and give me a pattern. Hog, this is Sammy Boys list. Yeah, Alex, I have an alarm. I like that. MSCI, Sammy Boy list. Hey, Sam, I looked at puts. They're a little spready, but there's juice at the 500s. Sell a naked put. AMD earnings after the bell. I have an alarm at 141.50. We might consider doing a put spread on that into earnings because it's beat down so much. I don't know what this is. I just saw it when Greg was talking. I mean, that's flat. Man, that's already over at $3. I saw it this morning at 220. So gap's too big. Something's going on there. Yeah, totally agree. Yep, I'll set an alarm 9:55. Lynn alarm. We're already in it. Look at Lynn. Now see, that's a nice 1, 2, 3. We sold, I forget what number, 420 or four. Let me look. We sold out of the money put spreads as an earnings trade, but we sold the 415s way down here. That's a beautiful 1, 2, 3. You got your igniting bar from consolidation, not far from the 20, multiple time frame alignment. So, like I said, earnings 8.2, but there's still time to do a pre-earnings run. So that looks fantastic. Actually, I posted last night the diamonds are 1, 2, 3. Also, I posted that as a put spread. All right, 1 minute to go, so we'll just hang out here. All right, Procter and Gamble turning here pre-market. So, it's an ugly gap. It's just one of these. Let's see what it does. Excessive gap, put spread possibility as volatility rises on the gap down. Oh, Tilray. I mean, look, Tilray dog has had earnings too. I don't know why I took that off my list. So let's put Tilray back on the list. Greg, your Garmin. I looked at all your 1, 2, 3s last night, Greg. A number of them I thought were too far from the 20, but most of them have earnings coming up. But I like this one, which is why my alarm just went off for a day trade. So, or maybe 30-minute high on Garmin I like. JP Morgan. Ah, nice gap. Cool. I mean, tighten our stuff. So 211, 215, ENPH, low alarm. That's a put spread we did. Oh, shoot. Oh, I H low alarm. All right, this is this might be stopping out at a profit. Look at crowds. CRWB is getting whacked. All right. OIH 328.48. Yeah, so I had moved this to break even yesterday. MXL up alarm, that's the Climo I mentioned. Oh, MXL. This could be a very nice day trade. All right, this Don, see how Maho here did not gap to 180? So it's not a gap and crap candidate anymore. All right, this looks great. Ideally 30-minute high. XLRE real estate up alarm. We entered this yesterday. I think only a third lot. Greg, do you want another third here? We only have a third.
I'd rather wait and see if it pulls in, Dan.
Sure. IQV up alarm. This was a long idea, which I deleted. But still 30-minute high, it's not bad. I'll put it back on the list. It's just because I found better is all, and I didn't like yesterday's retracement. All right, ENPH, we have a put spread that's far away, but that's coming, it's on probation. XLF looks fantastic. All right, so that looks great. Gapped over the entry. Yeah, PayPal, I'm not chasing it, but that could be the start. All right, ice baby went off. Now we can move stop break even. Or the days under this base, 50.85. And now it has earnings coming up. Ice baby. Alex, do you know that song now? That's why. Oh, I know I'm busy too. I'm sorry. Let's sell a third of Ice Baby. We're at $2. Has earnings coming up. CMG alarm. That's been a pseudo Climo. The CMG 30-minute high put spread. It's not a classic Climo because it's stair stepping down, so that's ugly. Wow, look at this Maxwell gave it up. All right, so that's fine. I'll just set a new alarm on old Maxwell. Well, Because then if it takes out the high, I like it. It's a 1375 alarm, which is good. Now I don't have to watch it. Diamonds went off. Put spread. RTX too far from the 20. Excellent question. Is it far from the 20? Absolutely, yes, it is. Next question. Did it consolidate enough to give you a bullish pattern on the time frame you're trading? Okay, so that's a different question. You got two bullish inside days, you got a bullish 15. If you're swinging it, you could do it. Stop yesterday's low. So the 20 MA has nothing to do with it. If you're day trading it, buy the high, stop day's low. All right, makes sense. Yeah. These other things I was watching, SYY gave it up, so I have zero interest there. Bion gave it up, zero interest there. Procter and Gamble gave it up, zero interest there. Disney from yesterday, we were trying to do a put spread. It did not get filled. All right, this diamonds I posted last night. Let me see where the juice bar is. Wow, so a lot of these are failing that I had on my list. Diamonds 401, 396. Midpoint 70 cents. And I wanted 78. So we're not far. I'd say it's a go at 70. I still like it. So see, Don, how I have these alarms and then I get to make the decision. If I want to, I just get to make a decision. And I still like it at 70. So I'm just going to send the revision out. There you go. Done. Wow, crowd is getting taken to the woodshed. JP Morgan. Yeah, looks great. This moves up low. Yeah, you could do a directional. Not crazy about the swing, but day trade for sure. Yeah, we have 207, 205. Yeah, we're almost well, 215. You know what? Let's just take our money. We got a ton of earnings. We still got 3 days. We got a nice profit. So JP Morgan, we're closing in a strength. The management of these are totally, well, not total, but they're sometimes very different for the obvious reason that we have max gain, whereas a directional does not.